What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Winning Twice podcast with your host. I'm Austin Cheviron. I got my buddy here today, Bernard Shamow. Bernard, thank you for coming here, my friend.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on. Love the new podcast, man.
Thank you. Now I was up visiting you yesterday. So now that was in person. I come up to your new place. Where's your new place at again?
What a double bonus, though, to get you twice in a week. We're in Auburn Hills. We're on the corner of Squirrel and Auburn. For those of you familiar with this area, downtown
Yeah,
Auburn Hills.
that is a dynamite location, by the way.
Man, so much new development, so many new shops, new restaurants, new coffee shops, some great businesses, a bunch of apartments. So you're absolutely right, man. Beautiful, beautiful location to be at.
You know what I love? And today what I want to do is I want to tell the story from about 7 months ago, how we got here today. But when I hear you talk about today and yesterday's conversation and 7 months ago, the one thing that we have in common with that whole thing is vision. It was vision.
Without question, man. Without question. It's been, we kind of touched on that yesterday about the journey in the last 7 months. So we had the foresight, we had the vision, and we so far have done the hardest part, which is the execution.
Yeah, I would say we're 10 for 10 right now too, which is pretty cool to say.
Knock on wood.
Cause most teams go like 2 for 10 in the first year.
You know, I probably would have gone 2 for 10 had you and I not connected. We connected a year ago, but we put things in motion 7 months ago for two totally different reasons that you had thought originally. But I'm glad we have a good batting percentage. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back a year ago. So a year ago, we're at an event and my buddy Randy Gammo comes up to me, goes, "Hey, you got to meet my bud Bernard. He's got a podcast over there. You need to go talk to him." Well, with all great intentions, I just got slammed that day. And then I'm like, gosh, dang it. I do what I say I'm going to do. I told Randy I was going to go meet this guy named Bernard. He's like, "You got to meet him. This guy's crushing it, man. He's just like us. You got to meet him." And I don't remember. Do you remember how we got connected after that?
Yeah, I do. I do remember. I remember the situation you're talking about. We got connected which is coming up, by the way. We got connected at the regional rally in Detroit again at EXP. I was walking out of the bathroom. You were walking into the bathroom. I took a phone call and then we talked in the hallway.
Isn't that funny? Sometimes the bathroom breaks are the best times in the events because you're not in the event.
Without question. Without question.
So what was, okay, so at that time, what was going through your mind? And maybe even give us like the 60 seconds of who's Bernard?
Yeah, no worries. Real estate agent, been in the Detroit market, Metro Detroit market, probably, my entire career. So going on my 9th year of real estate, I've had a great fortune of just learning and growing and helping a lot of families buy, sell, do the biggest purchase. About 3 years ago, got into new construction. And that me to, at that point, I was doing some great volume, some great production. And in the process of doing production, you're going to do most of it on your own, but you're going to make friends with realtors that are out there and that want to help you. And so maybe I partnered with some realtors to help me on some showings, to host some of my open houses. And with the new construction came, having realtors partner with me and sitting in some of our new construction. So spent a few years just paying it forward, man. Doing a little bit of coaching, having realtors call me for some advice, maybe some positioning, maybe, picking my brain. And I got to build a lot of great relationships with a lot of agents, in addition to all the people you do deals with. And from a production standpoint, Austin, I was gassed, man. I think last year finished with 100 transactions, $40 million in volume. And, prior to me or you meeting, there's always been that thought of starting a team and starting a brand and scaling up, working on the business, not in the business. And when you and I had met, I think maybe your idea for me was, how do we develop him even into more of an agent and more powerful and maybe better use of his time? But I was like, hey man, let me pick your brain on this. And you know what this was?
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
so the next level of leadership. Is really you want to why did you want to start a team?
Well, exactly that, man. Uh, how can I pay it forward? How can I create a brand? I'll tell you the reason I really wanted to start a team, and it's all encompassing. There was such a gap in in some of the education and the training and the way realtors did things. And what I mean by gap, man, you got a lot of people starting teams and in an industry where maybe you can stigmatize starting a team as bringing on anybody and everybody. But I wanted to start coaching. I wanted to start closing that gap of first year realtors, third year realtors, 5-year realtors on the way they conducted business. Ran into a lot of realtors that have been doing this for 4 or 5 years that actually have a good name in the business, and there was still a gap of
Mhm.
maybe knowledge and the way things are done and the processes, and, so I thought, "Hey, I can partner up with some agents. I can help them grow their brand. I can help them grow their business. They can be a representation of what we're gonna do at the Bass Group, brokered by EXP." So it was all of that into one, man. It gave me the opportunity to pay it forward, to coach and learn, and of course, as a team you want to do the right things. You want to help people, and with helping people means closing deals. So all of that, man, all encompassing right there.
I don't know if I ever told you this. I might have because I try to say as much openly as I can to you. One of the reasons why I took you on as a client is because you are one of two people. There's only one other guy that everybody who's mentioned something about you said something positive.
That's a rarity,
Ev-
Austin.
Everybody. I know that's not possible with me. I piss people off.
Sure.
I but I'm telling you, everybody, when I mentioned your name in the previous before we even working together, everybody said something positive. And if that's the case, I'm like, I know I'm willing to invest in somebody who's been a positive influence with everybody else. And I don't know if I ever shared that with you, but I wanted to. And I'll leave the other guy unknown. We said his name yesterday, actually. You said his name, and so did I. We'll leave his name unknown. He knows who he is, but
Yeah.
rare feat, my friend.
You've never told me that. And thank you for telling me that. And you know what comes to mind when you tell me that? There's been a lot of people I upset and I'm disappointed, maybe because we didn't get an offer done, or maybe because that's just part of the business. And when you explain it the right way and articulate it the right way, that's okay. And make no mistake about it, Austin, the cliche is new levels, new doubles. So it's only a matter
Yeah.
of time where, I wouldn't say it's a matter of time, but, you start doing more things for more people and being on a bigger stage, at some point, you're not going to have that perfect track record, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, and I actually I think that's a great point because I always told people. So when I sold real estate, I mean, my clients hire me, not the agents. And I would,
Right.
hey, you didn't hire, you're actually my competition at this
Yep.
point, but we're trying to get this thing together. So, but please know, I'm not here. I don't really care about your feelings. I don't
Yeah.
care about what you want, why you want it. My client's paying me, the 5-figure check, and my job and duty is to them, not you. You're just a piece to help me get them what
On
they
what they
want.
want.
And with
Man,
all that being said, I said it respectfully, but what I love about you and what you didn't say is, Austin, there's still a way to get what you want for your clients and have the world respect you still.
yeah. 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 And you said that piece a lot. You also said I don't work for you. I work for my client piece. We've had that conversation multiple times. But thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. So let's do this. Most of it's funny when a lot of my clients that hire me to help them with their team, normally they hire me when their team's having issues, like catastrophic issues sometimes. Like fix us, the boat's sinking. You did the opposite. You said, "Hey, I have this vision. I want to build this. Let me hire some help." Why did you seek guidance before you started, compared to where most people seek guidance after the boat's already sinking?
Yeah. Yeah. Phenomenal question, by the way. And it's, with the benefit of hindsight, because we've been together for 7 months, when you and I first spoke, Austin, I was thinking, man, I'm making this move. And I looked at, by the way, from the coaching standpoint, it was just a phenomenal soundbite after phenomenal soundbite. If I'm starting a team, this is the guy I want to talk to. If I'm scaling up, this is the guy I want to talk to. If I need that vision, this is the guy I want to talk to. And what I mean by everything I just said, Austin, one of the top teams in Indiana, the top team in Indiana, wasn't necessarily lead driven, has a network of people that have been there and done that. And you've learned a lot from that in your experiences. And so I thought, who better can I learn from? And I said, let me give this guy an opportunity. But I didn't know I was the one, benefiting and getting all of the education and knowledge with it because, I said, let me do this for a month or two. And I think we're on
Yeah.
month 7 or 8, like you said, because you had the experience. You want to know what's up front ahead of you. Talk to the people walking back from that road, and it just the conversations and the value just kept getting better and better as we went on and
Mm.
as I started my team.
Well, I want to break that down for people because I had fun along the way too, which is part of my requirements to do what I do. It's like I want to have fun with cool people and build something really good that benefits other people other than us. Like that's what gets me excited. What One of the things that I saw with you and that I knew, and I didn't know if I even said it to you, but were most people like, okay, $40 million in production. That's a hell of a decade for most real estate. Let's be real. That's a hell of a decade. Okay. I would actually bet your year was better than most people's decades. And what happens is what I see when they start a team, their 40 million the next year goes down to 20 million because now they're focused on these other people and building the systems and infrastructures, all the things we'll talk about here in a little bit. And what happens is, as I always said, when you split your focus, you split your income.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't understand that. And they're relying on that income from the 40 million because their lifestyle is that. And when they start the team, their income goes down, their production goes down, their expenses go up. And after 12 to 24 months, they're like, hell, I didn't sign up for this. That's normally a lot of times when I come in. You did it differently.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And I would tell you also, that you and I had that conversation. We had that conversation, and I think the first thing I told you was, I'm not doing this for money. Nobody's gonna make more money than me as an individual agent. I think we had talked about that. I'm doing it for long-term stability. I'm doing it for long-term growth. I understand that I got to take a step back in the first year. I realized my production was going to go down, but it's all about everything that you and I had a lot of intense conversations about.
Yeah.
How do we scale this the right way? How do we grow it the right way? How do we create the right culture? How do we make other agents successful with a better brand, with a better vision? And I was ready to make that step. I told
Yeah.
EXP that when I was starting my team as well. I said, look, I said, this isn't about me bringing on anybody and everybody. This is about me, how I can do it the right way and close that gap with some of that training and support and
Yeah.
systems we'll need.
And it's not only your words say that, your actions say it by exactly what we've done. Your actions back your words up. If I could just tell everybody right now, like, if you do this, you're probably going to lose $50,000. Like, just, it's lost money. It's sunk. I didn't know what I was doing. And then you're going to have a headache at a higher level than you expect. And it's going to cost you a lot of time and energy. And
Mm-hmm.
what I know, it's like, hey, if you come in, yes, it's not, yeah, it costs some money. It takes some time to have coaching sessions, takes time, and it costs some money. But if we can do this and we're an investor and we invest the right way, instead of having this level of headache, it comes down. Instead of having our expenses up here, they come down to the right expenses and we get this thing moving forward. So what I'd like to transition to is let's tell them kind of what we worked on. And if there's something private you don't want to share, all good. What did we work on?
Let me segue to what you just said and to what we worked on, and I love that
Yeah.
you broke it down. As you and I started having our weekly conversations and our coaching sessions, and I think my favorite thing by far was the way we intensely dissected what the vision was. We challenged a lot of the thought process. We challenged the layouts. We challenged the vision. We realigned, we reassessed, And as we were having our weekly conversations, you know, I had this all mapped out in my head and I had this planned out. And I think we were harmonious in some of our thoughts. And what you did is you took the experience that you had and said, I like A, B, and C, but I would personally do, you know, X, Y, and Z differently. And here's why. And as the weeks progressed, you know, it made more sense as to why you may have had a different vision. Again, you had the experience, you had the track record. And so when I think about the time spent with you and the investment that I put, I think about the money I saved from your direction the first time around and maybe doing things, not rushing to bring on X amount of agents or not structuring the business a certain way, or does the office layout make sense like this? You really opened up my eyes to that. We started from bare bones, man. So that
Yeah.
7 every month we progressed, it was just more value add as we went on that journey together.
You know what? And I want to bring this up because we
Bring it
actually
up, man.
started
This is
with
open
this.
forum right now.
What?
We're on the podcast, baby.
Yeah, buddy. One of the things I loved, and I told it to you, like I dreamt about your floor plan of your office. I dreamt about it. I had it there. I slept with this thing.
I know.
And so
Yeah.
what was cool is that so we got what, 12,000 square feet?
12,000.
12,000. Now, just to be clear with everybody here, if you're going to start your team, 95 out of 100 of you, I would tell you don't do this because it's like driving your first car is a Lamborghini. You're going to wreck it. It's going to be a disaster. But the amount of time and energy we dissected every square foot of that office and we
Literally.
labeled it, you color coordinated it with who's going here and why. And every square foot had a reason, and not only a reason towards your vision, it also had a financial piece to it. And we knew that we could be safe because we're making the right financial decision here. And so I just love that one piece. Now there's a lot of pieces, but that one of the office, because there was a chance we weren't going to do that.
Man, I remember all the conversations we had going back and forth. You know, by the way, you know, even me and you talking, I kept telling you we got some pushback. We got some pushback. And my favorite thing you said is we really dissected the financial impact of every square foot of this office. And we also really dissected how can we get the best talent and the best spots in the office to really uphold this culture, to really bring on agents that are going to want to produce, that are going to want to be part of the culture, that are going to want to, you know, maybe even enhance their systems and processes. I mean, we dissected this thing from A to Z.
You know what I love? I'm getting the chills just thinking about it.
About
Is
yeah.
the whole world would have looked at us and said, "Don't do that. You guys are stupid. Don't make that decision." And they're not talking to me, but like I'm with you. So like we're brothers in this. And they're like, "Don't do it. That would sound stupid. It's not going to work. They're not going to show up." And then me and you were like, "We've done all the math. We've thought all this through. We're betting on ourselves."
Yeah, we
Right.
you know, we got a long way to go and we got a lot to prove. But the 7 month journey, the office, we've been here for 3 months now. You just know when it's right. You can already see a lot of the progress. You can already see some of the growth. You can really, really foreshadow a lot of the success. And by success, I mean, how can we make agents better? How can we make them bigger? How can we
Yeah.
have a collaborative center that's really all real estate encompassing? So, um, if you would have asked me, are we happy, you and I, I'll ask you, it's your podcast, and then I'll
Yeah.
give you the answer. If me and you were like, hey, Austin, March 12th, you're going to be here. We've been talking for the 7 months. Is this where you thought we'd be?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny when I was there, and to just be clear with everybody, absolutely, and it's actually even more than that answer. Yesterday when I was there, a couple of the agents asked me, they're like, "Is this the first time you saw it? What do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh, I've been dreaming about these spaces and the square foot and what goes in and who and why." And yesterday when I saw it, Bernard, it was. And I can't say I've ever said this to anybody. And I don't know if it's because I don't normally come in so early and I'm more fixing things than building right away. But when I got there yesterday, I felt really at peace with getting to almost phase two. And phase two, what I mean by that is like we've had extreme growth right out of the gate. And I believe that because the growth is so good that there's a time, a 3-month period, I think it's 3 months, that we should almost pause the growth and then go back down to the core and the infrastructure. So when we go to phase 2, we can stack on top of it and the foundation is solid.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I just want to touch on the extreme growth you talk about. When you look at it from a team lead perspective, someone might hear you say that and say, "Oh, he's got 50 agents." I don't. But what I do have is I have 12 agents. I have an in-house collaboration center with 3 amazing lender partners who feed into my agents feed into and support their business. We have a title partner.
We got
We
Am I okay to say their name?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we got Fieldstone Title.
Yeah, we got Fieldstone Title, we got a bank in Flagstar, we got a lender in Rocket Mortgage, we got a broker in Afex, and it gives our buyers, uh, you know, we always tell our clients, we got you could use whoever you want, but we have 3 in-house people that certainly put our clients in the best position. But in addition to that growth you just spoke about, we have 3 world-class boardrooms that we renovated. We open them up and we invite anybody to come in and do a closing here and to see the office and maximize those rooms. We have extra office space in the back. We have a courtyard where they can come and they can do an event outside. We have a rec center in the back that they can host a training, and we're going to do some con ed down the road. But to your point in that growth,
Yeah.
this wasn't we could have by the way, could have had 50 agents, but it's everything that I've been talking about with
Yeah.
the growth.
Well, and growth, and when people are, when you're listening to this, growth isn't just agent count, it's all the infrastructure around it also to support all the other pieces. Because if you don't have those pieces and the agents grow, then it's probably going to topple over in time.
Amen.
And we've just been so precise. I feel like we're the Dos Equis, man. Where the Dos Equis is like, I don't drink, but when I do, it's Dos Equis. Like, hey, I don't make decisions, but when I do, they're on point.
Stay thirsty to
Right?
that, brother.
I love that. I love that. So, okay, let's have some fun here. So it's we're in March right now. What's April through September? Is that 4 months? 5, 6 months? What's the next 6 months? Let's cast the vision.
Yeah, yeah. I think from a looking ahead standpoint, we finally, not finally, it takes time. You want to choose the right ones. We got our systems in place. We got our processes in place. We got new construction in place. There's great opportunity not only to learn and grow. There's agent lead flow as well. Probably onboard some agents in the next couple of months. We got a training calendar out coming across the board. Whether
Did you
it's a
hear that,
20
everybody?
Yeah,
He's got a training calendar coming.
for the year. Whether it's a Tony Robbins training day, whether it's new construction training, whether it's prospecting on Vulcan for sale expireds. We also got a 90-day Sphere of Influence training coming up with yours truly. I think you and I need to get that on the books because I know what value that's had on me personally and what it's going to have for the agents. Because when these guys are sitting in on some of the things you're talking about, on honing in on some of their skills, on working their Sphere of Influence, I know that makes them better agents and ultimately makes the brand a better brand.
Yeah.
I think if they base the brand on production, that's going to be there too. If they based it on culture, that's already set in place. Winning at the end of the day is how many families can we help in our business? That's winning. And of course, with that is attached, but also winning with us and especially with you is how did I make that agent better, stronger, sharper, a better prospector? The more intense deals they go through, they know how to handle themselves. That's what they grow from. So we're excited about that too.
So the podcast title name is called Winning Twice. Winning Twice. What does winning twice mean to you?
It's a great question. That's a great question. And you and I've had this talk. I think when I think about winning twice, is how do I maximize the impact of achieving good things? Winning twice to me, an example would be I just helped a new family get into the home of their dreams. And maybe I also won on the back end because it was a deal that required more effort, more complication, maybe bringing in another partner, maybe helping somebody else out. I could see that as an example as winning twice. So how can I double down and make a double impact on whatever it is I'm doing? That's
Yeah.
what it means to me.
I was hanging out with Leo Perea this morning, and we were talking about the real estate team when I had it. It was called the Cheviron Group. And I was telling Leo, I go, Leo, the one thing everybody could see our production and see we were operating in the top 1% of the 1%. All good. My grandma always taught me, you don't get rewarded for things you're supposed to do, Austin. Like anything I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to be the 1%. And what I told Leo, I go, what they didn't see, what the world didn't see was the lives of our agents. The lives. The
Mhm.
lives mean more to me than anything else. And they were crushing it. They weren't perfect, by the way. We all got problems. We're real estate agents. We got more than most of them. But they were winning in life and they were winning in business. And that's what I
Yeah.
always called winning twice. So, and I know that is the core of your culture. When you're here, it's not just business. It's how are you performing as a human being? How are you performing under stress and pressure?
No doubt. And when I said the example of, you get this family, the house of their dreams, and that's kind of the life piece. The business piece
Yeah.
is everything else that happens on the back of the end. But we can dissect that and take it even deeper to your point. But yeah, it's a great motto, man. It's a great motto. It's a great podcast name as well. But
Yeah. Winning
um,
twice.
winning twice super impactful. You know.
Yeah, it's funny when I work with a lot of team leaders, it's like, why did we build this team to start with? And I built the Chevron Group for two reasons: impact and leverage. I wanted to impact their lives. I wanted to raise my standard from just working with my clients to working with agents who work with clients. It was a level up in my leadership. It was a test of my strengths, my skills, my weaknesses. Oh boy, would I have a lot of weaknesses when I started. I still do.
You know,
Um,
when you say the Chevron Group, you've certainly been able to achieve those things you just talked about. And I would also add, I think that what makes you even more dynamic is, the no nonsense. Here's what you get from me. You know, there's an expectation here, or you're not going to have it. You're not going to deal with it. You're not taking on clients to take them on. You're taking on clients because you know they're coachable. You see something in them. You understand they're going to put in the work. So I think that was the piece that also really attracted me about the Chevron Group, particularly you, brother.
yeah, one of my favorite lines when I interviewed people was, "Hey, I just want to let you know I'm not your sugar daddy."
Yeah.
That's what I told them. I'm not your sugar daddy. So whatever you think you want out of me, if it's anything that I'm not your sugar daddy. So when you come here, I always looked at, so you're a seed in this world. You're a seed. My job is to make sure that we have the right culture, which is the soil, so your seed can be planted in and you can grow as big as you want to grow.
Yeah,
And that is one thing I've watched you do is create that culture. And I know we're fresh at this, but I mean, we got fresh soil going in right now.
we
And
do.
every seed that comes into your culture is going to thrive. I know it is because I know the intention of the guy laying the soil. Now, will the soil go bad in time? Yes, and we'll have to bring new soil in and we'll have to move it around. It's the work, but you have been intentional of having the right soil. And I know every agent that joins the Bass Group will thrive to their fullest because of the soil. And I just, me to you, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you. And I don't know any top teams in the state or in the country that didn't have to re-rake their soil or maybe re-pour their soil. Yeah, yeah. That's the beauty of experience being the best education, man. You go
Yeah.
through it. You go through it.
And that's actually a great point I want everybody to hear. It's a constant, just like mowing your lawn here. And I'm in Indiana, you're in Michigan. You got to mow and maintain your lawn once it starts to grow. It's never ending until the winter comes. And the soil is going to always need maintained. Someone's going to poison your soil. Someone's going to taint the soil in a bad way, and you got to work and you got to move them out. You're going to have people that can't stand up to your level of accountability. They can't stand up to your level of expectations. Not for a bad reason, Bernard. I had agents who got another job, who moved out of town, who got married, who had kids, and it's like, hey, if I let you stay here, you're weakening the soil.
No doubt. No
And they
doubt. You
were
preach
good
that
people.
message. You preach that message often.
Well, and I remember doing it. People are like, why would you do this? They're fine. We like them. I go, I like them too. But my job is the taker of the soil. I am the caretaker of this. And when you work, I just had to make a decision that when you work with me, okay, in your house, if I were to go in your house, what's the temperature set at?
67.
60. Okay. What about if I go in one of your new construction homes?
Higher.
Okay. What about your office?
Lower.
Okay. And where I'm going with this is we all have a temperature set where we live and how we live of what we determine is comfortable. And I just determined that my temperature is set at 77 degrees. And so when you get around me, it's going to be hot. You're going to feel me, and
Let
it's going
me
to be uncomfortable.
let me shed some light
Yeah.
on what you just said. It's crazy because we have a we have a heat problem in the office, so I had to tell you it was lower. And my wife's at home, obviously, so that temperature is always set. But I love that analogy because you talk about it all the time. A guy like you can walk into a room and raise the temperature. Not everybody's going to operate at 77, and when you get in those environments that have the higher temperatures, that can be contagious. That can be,
Yeah.
that could be motivating. But I love that because, where's your thermostat set? Where's your temperature set? Because to you, it's consistent. It's 77 across the board.
Yeah.
I think you said 7. Yeah. So I get,
77.
yeah, we're going, man. We're going to operate at another level. We're going to operate at a higher temperature because it's just more output. It's more great output.
I'll be transparent with everybody here. Having a higher temperature set's not always fun. It's
No,
not always comfortable. It's actually a lot of times it's uncomfortable. But it's also a conscious choice that I'd make on how I want to live my life. And so what happens is like people like you, if you're at 75 and you come around me, you're coming up to 77, and you might fight and scream a little bit like, damn, it's hot in here, Austin. This is hot in here. But you're
Yeah.
like, I want it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to go.
But that doesn't become uncomfortable for a guy like myself, and I might say you. Where it becomes uncomfortable is in the room with the 66, 67,
Yes.
68 degree guys.
Yes. And they'll complain. And
you know what I mean? That's where it becomes like, oh man, I'm not enjoying this.
And so for a coaching moment for everybody here, how this actually works in real life is when I operate at 77 and I run into someone like Bernard, who's either at 79 or 75, he's either going to raise me up and I'm going to just fight through that heat, or I'm going to raise him up. But we're in agreement because we're authentic to who we are and we want to grow, that we adapt and we change. When we get around people at 68, and then they're like, ooh, you're making me uncomfortable. Then one of two things happens. Either they leave or they adapt. I don't adapt. Now
no doubt. And there's nothing wrong with being at 68 if that's what you're at, but if you're somebody that wants to step up and scale up and produce and have new habits, you got to raise that thermostat.
Now let me go to this level. Me and Bernard weren't always at 77. That's not where we always were. I think when you come in this earth, you come in at the natural 70 degrees where most people are set. And then we make a conscious choice to elevate our lives, to elevate our business, to elevate our surroundings. And what happens a lot of times, I don't know about you, Bernard, but every time I turn my notch up, my people that I was with, they don't turn it up. And I have to make a conscious choice to leave them because they're not going.
There's no other direction. There's no other direction. We operate differently. People that are at those temperature settings, the high 70s, high 80s, and I'm going to simply put it this way. Every new level requires a different version of you. It's that simple. That's why you may lose those. That's why you may lose the people that aren't raising their temperature or their degree. So, but by the way, it's fun to go through it. It's fun to experience. There's some anxiety associated with it. There might be some discomfort associated with it, but it's fun to go through it, man.
It is. The struggle's worth it.
100%.
And enjoy the ride, because it feels like it sucks a lot of times and the world doesn't understand, and the world's going to say, aren't you happy? Why do you got to do this? Why? And there's only one direction we go, and we keep going. And just know, for someone listening here, that you're probably, if you take that path, if you make that commitment to yourself, you're probably going to end up losing a lot of your friends. You're going to lose the people you hang out with. And it's not that you're losing them necessarily. It's that you've made a choice that you're going to grow. And if they don't grow, it's okay. It's their life, but you just have to limit your time with them then.
No
Right?
doubt.
Because if you're around them, then your temperature is going to go down, especially if you're around a group of a lot of people at 70 degrees, Bernard. If you're in a whole group and you're at 77 and they're at 70, I have to leave those groups. I can't even hang out with them because what I talk about, they're like, why would you even say that? I'm like, why wouldn't I say that? And then I'm like, I can't justify how I even think in this group. So I just have to leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I said, man, it is fun to go through that journey of, leveling up and getting to the next step. And I think what's even more um, rewarding, because I've had this happen as well, is, if you're 3 or 5 or 7 years down the road and some of the friends have dropped off and they work their way back into your life because of them finally realizing to turn up the temperature. They see
Yeah.
that. They've seen that.
Yeah.
They've seen that they came to a point where they needed to change and do things differently as well. So, when it
Yeah.
feels good and it produces great results, there's no other way.
I've
There's no
had, it's funny, people have asked me, and I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is accurate, but they'd like, "Hey, what if you never did everything you did and you just stayed where you were?" And I tell them this, and I don't know if this is right, but I go, "I think I'd be depressed." And I don't know if I would know what that feeling was, but I would feel like there's more inside of me, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And I think I'd have a hard time sleeping at night. And I'm just a guy that makes very calculated decisions. It's actually book number 2 that will be coming out in 2027 is Decisions.
Well, the
And
book number 1 was phenomenal, The Money Puzzle, for
thank you.
those of you that don't have it.
Thank you. Thank you. And we're going to be talking about decisions and how to think through decisions and how decisions um really are part of your character and the unconscious decisions. One of my favorite parts of the book is all the unconscious decisions. Chapter 2 is called Touch It Once. Oh my God, there's so much there.
Your
And
entire facial expression changes when you talk about the book. I mean, you're just in this
ah,
happy place, as you should be.
you know why? Did I ever tell you why I write my books?
You told me you write them because you like to put the thoughts on paper and you feel like they've been impactful, but you didn't give me the personals.
Yeah, I write the books for my kids.
There you go. There you go.
So, because I got something figured out that the world hasn't figured out. I'm not the only one that's figured this stuff out, but like the majority of the world hasn't figured stuff out. We're all learning. I got a couple of the things right. Thank God. I got a couple of things because if you had known me 15 years ago, you wouldn't have bet on me winning the race. I was the horse with 3 legs that probably had a disease that needed shot in the head, and
You had to learn from something.
the thing came around the corner like a beast and won the race. You're like, wow, we should write about this. So now I'm in the process of documenting, Bernard, all the things that I know for my kids. And now do other people get to take part of it and read and learn? Absolutely. But my vision is clear. And the one thing I love about the money puzzle is once you get your money right, you can go do the things you want to do. But if you try to do the things you want to do and your money's not right, boy, it's tough, if not impossible.
I agree.
It's just tough. So, well, one question I love to ask everybody as we wrap this up is, what is one piece of advice you would have for another entrepreneur, maybe one who's just starting out in this world?
Uh, m- the piece of advice I would have is, um, you know, I would put into play whatever they're thinking about, endeavoring into. I think that going through the process of maybe potentially filling a dream or building a business or building a brand will far outweigh the thought of never having done it or never having done it. It's cliche to say you only live once, but I think, with the right mindset and the right vision and the right coaching and, whatever it is you're thinking of venturing in, you know, doing that and let's just say it not going the way you want will be much easier than to never do it at all and not know what could have been. That's
Mm.
that's what I'd say.
That's a lot. Well, two last things here. First, you got a podcast. Can you tell us about that real quick?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. We have the Real Push podcast. We started off interviewing local entrepreneurs who were very successful. We had a few sports celebrities on. We've had some good names on there, and we did a lot of the real estate events as well. So we've turned into somewhat of a real estate podcast, but it's a great platform to give agents an opportunity to come by, talk about their business, talk about the market, add some value, maybe tell us some personal pieces. And we're still going to throw in some other content with some good speakers. We're doing one this week with a good, highly impactful Detroit entrepreneur. So we're excited about that. But that's the Real Push podcast. You can look it up on Instagram, and it's right there and available.
Well,
And it's
well,
on YouTube.
better than that, me and you got to share some time on your podcast, so maybe I can put the link to that episode in the show notes. So if people appreciate this conversation, they can hear the twice and have you interview me compared to me interviewing you.
Man, we had a great conversation. That's a fantastic point too. So we'll get you that link so you guys can tag it on to this one for sure. A little
Love
bit
it.
of back and forth.
Yeah, love it. Well, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they find you?
I'm on social media and Instagram. My name. So my personal is Bernard Shamow. The team is Bass Group Realty. And then I'll get you those hashtags. You can attach them to the podcast as well.
Love it. Love it. Well, Bernard, thank you for your investment of time with me and with everybody else today. I appreciate you, brother. And I'm going to see you Wednesday next week.
Yes, you will. I think Thursday, March 19th, UWM,
Yep.
but the EXP. But yeah, I'm always excited to spend some time with you, my brother. Keep doing great things. Thanks so much for
And,
having me as a guest.
and you're speaking on stage. I'd like to see your notes, by the way, before, if you can
Yeah, I'll get those.
remember.
We have the slides and everything. I know you're speaking too, so it's super exciting.
Yeah. So I like to audit my speakers when they go up and speak. I like to say, okay, let's hear it. So send me the notes. I'll be in the front row if I have a seat, and I'll be looking right at you, taking my notes and saying, go get them, buddy. Go and pack some lives. So I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for your time today. Love it.